If you've been watching the channel for even any length of time, you probably know that whenever it's a rainy day, I like to get out there and shoot groups and review guns. So today we're going to be taking a look at how the Barra 250Z in 25 cal shoots slugs. But before we get out there, let's give it up to our main channel sponsor, which is of course High Pressure Pneumatics, for sending this gun over, providing some ammo, and letting me do my thing. So thanks to HPP. There'll be some links in the description and comments that help the channel, some affiliate links for High Pressure Pneumatics, as well as some affiliate links for Amazon. So thank you guys if you're using those. But the general description of what we're going to be doing today is I've got 4 different varieties of slugs, or weights of slugs, and I'm going to send them at 50. And then let's say the best 2 groups at 50, we'll take those slugs out to 100. And then the best 1 at 100, we'll play around and see how many times we can ping my 4-inch plate at 150 yards. But from what I've seen, the Barra 250Z can actually shoot slugs pretty well. And with this one, it's fully stock at this point. Still, I have not put any upgrade parts in it. The only thing I did was crank the regulator up from about 2200 PSI to 2500 PSI. I have not even adjusted the hammer. So for you guys that don't like to tinker and tune too much, this will be perfect for you. But let's see how it does with a little bit of increased pressure and a couple of different slug weights ranging from about 28 grains all the way up to about 34 grains. So let's get to it. Just a quick look at our environmentals today. So it is raining and it is rather cold, especially for May. You can actually see your breath out here. It's about, I don't know, 46 degrees or so. So that's going to affect the air gun a little. Obviously, air guns run best right at around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So with the decrease in temperature, we're probably going to see a little bit lower velocities than you might experience in higher temperature environments, which is normal. So take that with you. But this is basically my situation today. Not super windy, a little gusty at times, but rainy and cold. So let's step in here and I'll show you what I got cooking. All right, so in the Vevor heated shooting shack, the first thing I got cooking is the diesel heater. There'll be a link and a discount code for that thing. That is wonderful. And I did not expect to use it in May, but here's what we're going to do. So I've got the H&N 250 or 25 cal 28 grain slugs. Okay. I've got some .249 29.5 grain slugs from Nielsen. I've got some 30 grain 250 slugs from H&N, and I've got some .251 33.49 grain slugs from JSB. These are the knockout slugs. All of these are available over at High Pressure Pneumatics, but we're going to shoot some groups. I'll get that target out there at 50 yards. We'll group all 4 of those at 50, and whichever the best 2 are, I'll take those out to 100, and then whatever the best 1 is, we'll go to 150 and see how she does. All right, here we go. I've got the rifle filled up to 250 bar. I've got the regulator set at 2500, and we're just going to go ahead and shoot 9 rounds because that's what the factory magazine holds of each of these 4 ammos. Now for this one, I'm using the Big Air 12 round magazine. So if you're looking for a little bit more capacity, check these guys out. I'll leave a link in the description and comments, but we're just going to go ahead and shoot 9 shots at each of those targets with each of these ammos, and we'll see which 2 group the best at 50, and then we'll see which 1 groups the best of those 2 at 100. So I've got the FX chronograph here, but it seems to not want to pick up this gun. So I do have, I don't know if you can see it, but I have the pocket chronograph down there also. So we'll be able to hopefully catch our velocity here. All right, so we can see I've got these targets labeled. So the top left is going to be the H&N 28 grains, and we're just shooting for groups. So these are not going to be bullseye hits on here. We're just going to try to hold dead center and see where these all group. I'll try to do my best to be stable, but I am on a rickety bench and using a scope cam, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay, didn't pick up a velocity on that one, but it went pretty well where I was aiming, didn't it? .913 FPS. I kind of jammed that slug. This is probably going to be off a little bit. Nope. Man, those are shooting pretty respectably. Okay, so that was 9. Looks like those are shooting right at about 910 or so FPS. And a common misnomer is people always want to think you got to push slugs at a super fast velocity, 1000 FPS. No, sometimes slugs can be shot pretty accurately right at around 850 or so. So you got to test. But for this video, we're just kind of doing a standard, you know, not adjusting the hammer, 2500 PSI on the reg and shooting. So next up, we've got the 29.5 NSA slugs. We'll go ahead and shoot those at the appropriately labeled target. Oh. Now these slugs, out of all of these, I did not like pre-select them or anything. They're just whichever ones I pulled out of the tin, I just randomly selected them. And it looks like these are flying right at about somewhere between 890 and 900. 896 on that one. Okay, so let's see how we're doing on air. All right, so I still have 3,000 in the tank, and that was 18 shots. So I'm going to fill up, and then we'll go ahead and do the other 2 groups. All right, next up is 9 rounds of the H&N 30 grainers. Let's see how these do. We will go down to the appropriately labeled target. All right, we're getting about 894 FPS out of these. Okay, so looks like these are kind of opening up a little bit here. All right, about 900 FPS. All right, and we'll just do an air check here. I definitely have plenty of enough air to get 9 more shots. So if you're thinking about using this for NRL 22 as a budget gun, you only need 12 rounds per stage, and I'm easily getting 18. So that's pretty cool. All right, last but not least, the JSB Knockout 33.49 grainers. I expect that these will be quite a bit lower FPS because they are quite a bit heavier, more than 10% heavier. Let's check them out. Okay, so that hit way low, but we're just going to still keep aiming on target and seeing what the group size is. Looks like those are flying right at about 852. Yeah, and I'm thinking those are going to need more speed. Okay, so 849 on that one. Probably want to have those closer to 900. Actually, not a bad grouping, though, except for the one that I may have pulled or as a flyer. Right at about 850. See, sometimes you'll get surprised. All right, so that was all 9. Last shot was 853 FPS. I'm going to go up there with my trusty tape measure. We'll measure those groups. We'll take the best 2, and then we'll test those at 100. Okay, let's take a look how we did. This is always tricky to film. So the H&N 28 grainers, I'm seeing right about an inch or 2 MOAs at 50 yards. Next, we had the NSA 29.5s, and those are actually a little bit less, so maybe like 3/4 of an inch. So that beats the H&N 28 grainers. The 30 grainers, that's probably the longest right there. A hair over an inch. So far, these and these are better. And then if we look at the JSB 33.49 grain, I don't know if I should discount that one. I may have pulled that, but I mean, that's also a little better than maybe the NSAs. So here's what I'm going to do. These shoot about the same. Let's test the NSAs and the JSBs at 100 yards. And we'll discount this flyer and we'll say that that was our group, just for the purposes of this video. Because, hey, you might want to shoot something heavy. And like I said, you know, you might be surprised because those were only going like 850 FPS, but they were pretty accurate. So we'll move this thing out to 100 and see how we do with the NSAs and the JSBs. All right, we've got that target now down there at 100 yards. We're going to start off with the .249 caliber NSA slugs. The 29.5 grainer shooting somewhere right around 905-ish. And I've trusted my stray lock to tell me that it is a 3 milliradian holdover. So I've dialed for that. And we're just going to go ahead and get started here and see how these do. For both of these groups, we'll be shooting 9 shots, which is the factory magazine capacity. So let's go ahead and get started here. I will take aim at the left target, which is labeled for the NSAs, and I'm going to try to get really stable here. I did notice when I walked down there, there's quite a bit of wind at times. Looks pretty still right now, so let's get cracking. All right, so that was only like 891 FPS, so the cold has made this gun shoot quite a bit slower. .895. Man, that is all over the place at 100. All right, so that was 9 with the NSA 29.5s. I am not too impressed, to tell you the truth. That is worse than I did with pellets at 100 yards. Of course, it is about 20 degrees colder today, so maybe that's having something to do with it. My velocities are about 25 FPS lower than they were in my first testing. Let's just make sure we've got definitely enough air. Yep, I am still at about 3250 PSI, which means I'll definitely be able to get 9 more shots off. So we'll put those JSBs in there, and I'm going to go up to like 4 mils, just guessing at the drop, because I know these are going to drop. You know what? We're going to go to 4.5. And let's send these 9 downrange and see how they do. Now remember, these are only going about 850 FPS. Wow, that was the same exact hole. Oop, a little off on that one. And that's it. So looks like the JSB 33.49's grouped quite a bit better down there at 100 yards. And I never pull any punches, so whatever I'm seeing in this 47-degree day in the rain is exactly what I'm putting on the internet. So Keep in mind, I haven't done any hammer tuning on this thing. Probably might be able to get a little bit higher velocity if I crank that hammer up, but it's whatever it was at the factory setting. The only thing I did was jack the pressure up to 2500, but we'll go down there, take a look, and then we'll wrap things up here. Okay, let's take a look at our results here. So the NSAs, 29.5 grainers, looks like a little under 4 MOA or 4 inches at 100 yards. And on this channel, I am honest and I am not beholden to any manufacturer. So like whatever groups I get, that's exactly what I'm showing you. I get a gun in my hands, I shoot it, and I show you exactly what I get. Also, I'm way too lazy to like try to make the gun look awesome by putting a new target up, shooting again until I get a really small group. No, I don't do that. So, but anyway, if we do cherry pick this small group, it's about 2.5. So I don't know what happened on that shot there, but about 2.5 average. And then here we have some interesting results. I again have about 4 inches to that one. And I may have, let's see, there was 2 in the same hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's all 9. So 4 at the highest. And then if I just cherry pick this group, also looking at about a little under 2.5. So definitely hunting accuracy at 100 yards with these slugs. And keep in mind, all I did was simply turn the reg up to 2500. I left the hammer exactly where it was from the factory. I did no hammer tuning. Could I get better results than this with some hammer tuning? Yes, absolutely. I think I could with that gun. I'd like to see maybe 30 to 50 FPS more on each of these. And I bet you the groups would tighten up. But for the purposes of today, I'm not going to do that. I am waiting on some parts from Rogue Air. My buddy Dan Carpenter, 802 Airhead is his YouTube channel. Check that out. He actually has a whole bunch of parts for these Barras, and he's going to send some over. And we're going to try to hot rod that thing for the next video. But for now, you know, decent hunting accuracy at 100 yards. Is it going to be, you know, a sub-MOA gun at 100 yards? From what I saw today, no. Keep in mind, we're in 48-degree weather with decent gusting winds out here. So that's what I got. And next, I'm going to go back there and we'll try to fling a few out there at my target at 150 yards, which is that white plate. It's a 4-inch plate. And we'll see. I think I'm going to probably use the NSAs for that. And we'll see if we can score some hits on that. And then we'll wrap things up. Okay, as one last thing, I've got one of the Big Air 12-round magazines loaded up with the NSA 29.5 grainers. And we're going to see if we can hit that little 4-inch plate down at 150 yards. So let's see what we can do here. Impact. 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 I think I missed that one. Maybe the wind changed on me here. I'm going to just keep holding dead up. All right, I'll hold left edge. Impact. 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 Miss. Impact. Miss. Okay, so not so bad. Quite a few of those shots landed at 150 yards. And I do think I would benefit from doing a little bit of hammer tuning and finding a real sweet spot for some of these slugs. But there you have it. It can shoot a 4-inch plate out at 150 yards. All right, so that's going to do it for the slug testing with the Barra 250Z. Saw some pretty decent results at 50 yards. Looked like when I got it out to 100, sort of opened up a bit. But again, I have not done any real tuning for slugs. All I did was jack the pressure up and then just rock it with the normal factory hammer settings. So still not bad for a hunting gun and definitely not bad for a budget gun. And to be able to put hits like that out at 150 yards most of the time is pretty good. So I think I'm going to basically goose this thing when I get some of the Rogue Air parts in, and we'll do some tuning, and I'll try to get it as best as I can possibly get it to have the best accuracy with maybe some heavier slugs, and we'll see where we can go with this thing all souped up with the Rogue Air parts. But, you know, I've seen some other guys on YouTube showing some really tiny groups from this thing, and I don't want to discredit them and say they're dishonest or anything. But they could have had better weather conditions. Like I'm sitting here in about 48 degrees and rain and humidity and stuff. So that probably has a little bit to do with it. But as always, I shoot the gun. I show you exactly what I get. If you want to pick one of these things up, you can head on over to the affiliate link in the description and comments for High Pressure Pneumatics, snag one there. And if they don't have it in stock, you can always call and place a special order. So also, all the ammo that I used was available over at High Pressure Pneumatics too, and they have much, much more than that. So go check it out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you next time. Peace.